All right, so on this worksheet today, we are going to be reading problem scenarios, defining variables, writing equations, and solving them. So when we're writing our equations, we need to make sure we have equal signs, okay? Now, this was a question, actually, I forget who had brought this up last week. It may have been you, Gabe, I forget, but when we're writing our equations, we want to have our variable on like the left-hand side, because when we start to have multi-step equations, it'll become too tricky otherwise. So notice this example where it says x minus 12 equals 34, and we wouldn't want to have the following: 12 plus 34 equals x, okay? We want to have our variable with the quantity on that left-hand side, okay? And we'll see examples of that coming up. So our first scenario says, Lisa is cooking muffins. The recipe calls for 7 cups of sugar. She already had put in 2 cups. Write an equation that could be used to find the number of cups she needs. How many more cups does she actually need to put in?
5.
So, great, you found that quickly. And yes, it's pretty obvious, but let's actually use our algebra here. So x is our variable. What is x going to represent? AKA, what are we looking for here, folks? And everyone needs to be awake and engaged. What are we looking for? The number of hours?
Cups.
Cups, exactly. So x is going to represent the number of cups. Don't just say cups. Because are we talking about the color of the cup? The size of the cup? No, number of cups is what we're looking for. Now for my equation, we want it to look similarly to the example that they gave us. It doesn't have to say minus. It can say plus. It can say multiplied. But we want to have that variable on the left-hand side. So I'm going to do this first one for you. Would everybody agree that the number of cups she needs plus the 2 she has already used will give me the total amount of cups needed?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, I started with that variable. I'm looking for how many more I need. I know I already have 2, so I'm going to add the 2 to the amount I need, and it better give me the total amount necessary, which is 7. Now, what would I do to solve that? This one's pretty straightforward. How do I get x alone?
Subtract 2 from both sides.
Very good. So I get x equals 5, just like you said. And what does that 5 represent? Well, we said x represents number of cups. So it's saying we have 5 cups. So in my sentence, Lisa will need 5 more cups. Everybody should make sure they are writing this down. Okay? Now, for your equation writing, I'm going to use a different color because I don't want you to write this. If you had something like this for your equation, is that fully incorrect? No, what does that answer give me still?
5.
5. But our whole goal is to not have to do that. Our whole goal is to write our equation with our variable on that left-hand side with another number. Because as I keep saying, when we have multi-step equations, this isn't going to work for us. This would only just tell us one step, and we might have more than that. Okay? So don't do that. Alrighty. Let's look at number 2. Last week, Scott ran 30 miles more than Nicole. Nicole ran 47 miles. Write an equation that could be used to find the number of miles Scott ran and actually go find that. So let's all start with this. What are we looking for? What should my variable represent? Caitlin. Hold on, we got Caitlin in the house here. Number of miles. Even more specific. Ran by. Bingo. Very good. So, number of miles Scott ran. Okay? And so Caitlin did a great job of continuing to add on to that. So, number of miles is decent, but we want to be specific because are we talking about Scott, Nicole, Joe Schmo, right? We want to be specific. Alrighty. Can anyone think of an equation here? Gabe?
Well, 30 plus 47 would be 77. So that's what our x is going to equal.
That's good. But you're still going on that same path of what we're trying to get away from. It's right. And it's working just fine because we're only doing one operation right now. So it's totally fine. So this is what you were saying. You said what? 30 plus 47?
Yeah.
Equals x. And so that I'd give you half credit for. But we're trying to, because it's not going to give you the wrong answer by any means. But we're going to try to get away from that.
So would it be x? Would you start the equation with x?
X, yes. Very good.
Equals 30 plus 47?
That's really the exact same thing that you just said. It's just on the other way around. So what I'm going to do is the following.
Oh.
Because think about this. How would I solve this? What would I do?
Just subtract 30 from 77, you get 47.
Right, but how would I
add 30 to both sides.
Bingo. And it's going to give me that 77.
Okay.
Could we do it both ways? If the question is, I just wanted to know what the answer was, yeah, both ways is fine. But for our purpose of writing these equations, if you wrote the orange, I'd only give you half credit. And again, why am I saying this? Is I'm hoping we get to one shortly. If there's a two-step problem, that orange method isn't going to work. Okay? So for the first two problems, we were only doing one operation, so it worked. So x equals 77 is my answer. What does that mean? That
Scott ran 77 miles.
Good. Tim said it in class. Gabe said it at home. Exactly. Scott ran 77 miles. Now, also make sure it makes sense, right? It says Scott ran 30 miles more than Nicole. So his miles better be bigger than Nicole's. And is that the case? Yeah, absolutely. If you had gotten 10, well, something's not adding up there, right? So always make sure it makes sense. Okay, number 3. Chris wants to buy t-shirts for his team. The shirts cost $8 each, and there is a $10 shipping fee. He has $82 to spend. Write an equation to find the number of t-shirts he can buy. All right, I want to hear from somebody else, and if you want to type it instead of using your voice, that's okay. But remember those engagement progress reports that are now being sent out? Here's that time where that participation comes into play. Okay, so what are we looking for? What is my variable? X is going to be, and go ahead, somebody, let's hear from other people.
Like, is it going to represent the amount, like the t-shirts?
Yes. Good. And be specific. What about the t-shirts? Bingo, the number of t-shirts. Don't say the size of t-shirts, right? The color of t-shirts. So X is going to represent the amount or the number of t-shirts. And it's okay to use that number symbol. All right. Can you think of an equation for this one? I'm going to give everybody a moment before I ask. And remember, if you want to type it into the chat, do so. It's okay if you're wrong. Okay, guys, this is not a test. This is not the end of the semester where you should know things. But participating will help you and also help me be able to guide you better. Think about, we're talking about a total cost of $82 to spend. Kate, let's hear from you. Okay. I'm going to do something here. She's going to write, and this is kind of going back to that wrong way. This is what she said. What are we trying to do, guys, though?
I'm trying to figure out how much.
Sorry, Gabe, hold on. We've got someone in class participating real quick. Exactly. We're trying not to have this equal X. So we don't want to write it this way. No, no, no. I'm actually going to erase this. We don't want it. Kate, what do you think now?
X over 8 plus 9 equals 80.
Much closer. But she is saying X over, but we don't want to divide. X times, because each t-shirt costs $8. So exactly, we're going to do 8 times X. That tells me a cost of t-shirts, but what else do I have to pay for? Right, that $10 shipping fee. So plus 10, and that'll tell me my total cost, which is $82. Nice, Jocelyn. Very good. Okay, so in the chat, someone typed in the correct answer as well. Okay, so don't hesitate to use that chat function. All right, how do I solve this problem now? What's first? Subtract 10. Yes, good. In class and at home, I heard that. Great. So we now have 8x equals 72. Jordan, what would we do next?
Now you would do
What operation would we do?
well, if you're multiplying, you would divide.
Bingo, exactly. So we're going to divide. So we divide by 8, and I get x equals 9. And then don't forget to write your sentence. Remember, what does X mean? X, we said, is number of t-shirts. So how many t-shirts can Chris buy? Chris can buy 9 t-shirts. Any questions with that? Okay, so our goal is to have those variables with another number on that left-hand side. These equations are not crazy in-depth ones, so I know you guys are kind of doing them in your head like the orange we've been writing, but math is just going to become more advanced, and so the way that I'm having you write it will be much more helpful. Okay? All right, so I'm going to ask you to do the following. I'm going to ask you to do number 4 right now. We'll go 2 minutes on that, then we'll put up the answer. And if you have finished 4, you can continue on with the rest of the assignment, which is review practice of our solving of equations. Okay? So 2 minutes to try number 4 on your own. Then we'll put it up. It'll be lunchtime. And when we come back from lunch, I'm going to put you in breakout groups to finish the solving of equations. Sound good? All right, so let's all get number 4 done. Go for it. Stay here, don't leave. All right, just so the bell doesn't ring on us. Hopefully everyone got X correct. What does X represent?
Number of apples
Number of apples, even more specific.
picked.
More. Tammy, exactly, okay? Number of apples Tammy has. Our equation, little tricky, but it's similar to one we already did. Did anyone come up with our equation in the right way? Victoria?
X minus 14 equals 37.
Bingo! X minus 14 equals 37. That is correct. Tammy has more, so we need to subtract from Tammy so that it equals Ken's. Now we will add 14, and I already heard some people with the right answers of 51. But please make sure your equation is right. Remember, it's not just about the right answer anymore. It's all the parts that give you points. And so our sentence is that Tammy has 51 apples. Any questions? All right, lunch is about to happen. When we come back, let's all check in with each other, and then we will solve the rest of the equations for the worksheet. All right, have a great lunch.